you also want to figure out what the potential profits could be. So for example, let's say you bought a spider ball python and you bought a normal ball python, you bring them together, your profits aren't going to be that much. Maybe you get 6 eggs, maybe 3 of them be spiders, 3 be normal. Spiders sell for about $50, $60 depending on where you get them from and whatnot, and normals go for maybe 50. So if you do the math, you spent maybe 60 on the spider, 40 on the 30 on the normal, or 20 on the normal. So let's say you spent 30, 60 and 20, that's $80. You have 6 eggs. You get 60 to 180, just say 200, 210, $220 from that clutch. And now that's just the money you've made from it. That's not profit. Then you got to consider how many mouse or how many mice or rats that each baby ate before you sold it. You know, did you buy enclosures? How did enclosures, the time it took to take care of them? So it might not really be worth it to breed it, to be honest. Now, if you're doing, like I said, for fun, like I do, it's not that big of a deal. But if you want to turn it into a legit business, you have to think about the investments and the return on profit from each rep. Next, the biggest thing I could say before you start breeding is don't do what I did and many other breeders did, which was buy every single base morph and male and female and different species. At one point, I probably have like 60 animals, and I could probably technically only put like, I don't know, 10 of them together and actually make something. So it costs a lot of money, and I obviously never got to see any of that back within profits. I mean, I got the experience and I got to rehome and sell those reptiles when I did at the appropriate time, but I definitely didn't make my money back. I definitely lost money. So my biggest advice is to dismiss that and start small. I would recommend using ball pythons, for example. If you want to breed ball pythons, maybe get like a cheaper male, get a cheaper female, breed them together, maybe get some double gene babies or some nice looking babies back, hold them back, maybe purchase another female a year after, and then, you know, then you divide up who goes to who and whatnot. But like I said, start small. Don't start with too many. You don't want to have too many babies at first. You want to get a good hold onto what it's like to get eggs, to hatch the eggs, to get healthy babies, to keep healthy babies, the care they need. And it's a lot more than you would really think. Like I said, reptile, depending on what species of reptile you have. But it's not always the easiest small. And you end up gonna, I guess you could say, make more of a profit in the long run if you start smaller than if you would invest a lot of money up front, because you don't get your money back right away. Who knows if you ever will. Different morphs prices go down and up, and most of the time they go down. So by the time you buy a baby snake that's maybe, I don't know, just say $5,000, and you wait 3 years for that baby to get old enough to breed. By the time you breed and get eggs and get babies, that snake that you paid $5,000 for is now worth maybe $1,500. So you're expecting to make $5,000 from each baby when you buy it, but in reality, you're going to make $5,000 probably from the whole clutch, just because of the price difference. List over the benefits of starting slow, like I kind of already did, but I'm just going to list them off, which is less reptiles to care for. It's a less upfront cost, a lot upfront work to do. You get a feel for it better. You get less food costs, like overall cost goes down. You get to really know your species and how they act and react and what they like, what they don't like. You can kind of get to know each animal, because even though ball python A and ball python B might both be ball pythons, they might both act completely different. And it's something that's going to help you out when it comes time to raising your own hatchlings or breeding your own reptiles. A lot less chance of problems because it's just less number of animals. There's less chance for them to get sick. As well as when you breed less babies, you get less babies that need medical attention or that might not come out right or healthy. So you get a better chance of getting healthier babies, and less babies that maybe aren't eaten or too skinny or they go full term, whatever it could be. You also get a good feel for selling reptiles, how quickly you can sell a reptile, how long you have to wait before you can sell a reptile. You learn about, okay, in my area, I'm trying to sell leopard geckos and no one's buying it, so maybe I gotta switch directions and go for something different. You get to see how the process goes. If you're selling local or if you're shipping, you kind of learn everything. And you kind of want to learn slow. You don't want to not know how to ship reptiles. Now you have 3 babies you have to ship first, and that's probably a lot easier to figure out than if you have 35 babies to ship out due in a week or whatever, and you don't know how to ship. Reason why it's good to start small. You get a good feel for like your area and for who's gonna buy off of you, how much you could sell things for. Usually you sell for less when you're smaller like me, and then once you get kind of a name for yourself, you can kind of sell it for a little bit more. All things to consider. And also, when you start small, you can kind of build a client base. Like right now, I have a customer that every year I produce babies, whether it's leopard geckos, ball pythons, or bearded dragons. They usually buy something off me, or if they don't buy something off me personally, they usually ask if I have something, and they know someone that wants something. So I've gotten a lot of sales, not only from selling directly to a customer from early on, but throughout the 6-7 years throughout, they've also probably sold 15 reptiles that I didn't even have to sell. They literally texted me, asked if I had it, I sent them pictures, and they were sold. What are you doing, dude? It's all on my hoodie. So yeah, that's the main reasons why I say start small. Now, if you feel like maybe you don't have a job and you want to do this full time and you have a lot of money to invest, go ahead and spend as much money as you freaking want to. That's your money, do you? But that's just what I would recommend is starting small. Next advice I'm gonna say is instead of spending a lot of money, and this kind of goes hand in hand with my last thing, but instead of spending a lot of money, let's say you do have a lot of money, say you have, I don't know, $10,000 you want to spend on reptiles, so you're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna go buy $2,500 snakes and breed them. I would recommend not doing that, since I just said, but also if you have that $10,000, maybe you buy a male ball python that is worth $4,000, $5,000, and then maybe buy 2 females that are a little bit cheaper. So that way when you produce babies, you're producing less, but you're producing more valuable babies that you can sell them for a higher price. So it's less down cost, it's less hassle, less work for you, but then you reap the benefits of the more money. Let me turn my freaking light on real quick, that'll probably help. Is that better? Holy shit, I'm an idiot. It's easier to sell a reptile that has more than 1 gene in it than it is to sell a single gene reptile, even though they're more expensive, and they're usually easier to sell as well as being more expensive for your pockets, which is all about the flip around, which is obviously really important for reptiles. Well, for a business with reptiles, you don't want to be keeping it too long and spending money on it. You want to sell it, ship it out, make the most money profit off it you can, and in return get that space you could use for another reptile to sell down the line. Another big decision